remember the day the sky turned gray, not a cloud in sight, but an overwhelming weight pressing down on my chest. I am Helena Montez, 35 years old, a senior bank executive in the heart of New York City. I had climbed the corporate ladder with stealth and precision, but beneath the polished exterior lay a burning ambition that few had the privilege to witness. My colleagues saw me as just another suit, but I was more than that. I was a woman driven by a fierce hunger for success, determined to carve a path that no one believed I could. The irony? The very people who should have supported my dreams had turned their backs on me. My parents, once my biggest fans, disowned me for choosing ambition over tradition, for daring to reach for something greater. They could not fathom the sacrifices I made, nor the relentless drive that pushed me forward. It was my 25th birthday when the gulf between us widened irrevocably. I made my way to the family home, ready to celebrate, but I was met with silence. Their disappointment loomed larger than any birthday cake. They wanted me to be content with a simple life, yet I had dreams that sparkled like the city lights outside my apartment. I wanted more, and that desire set me on a collision course with my family's expectations. They expressed their disdain in hushed tones and sharp glances, and then it happened. A final ultimatum, the choice made clear. It was my dreams or their love. I chose ambition. I can still hear the words echoing in that dimly lit living room, the air thick with tension as they declared their disownment. It felt like a dagger to my heart, but I steeled myself. I had a fire within me that would not be quenched, and as I walked away that day, I vowed to prove them wrong. Years passed, and I scaled the heights of the financial world. I transformed from a timid teller into a senior bank executive. I moved with purpose, my heels clicking like the ticking of a clock, each step an assertion of my worth. I built a reputation so strong that even the whispers of my past could not touch me. But despite the accolades and the power, there was a hollow echo in my heart, a missing piece that only family could fill. As I reached the pinnacle of my career, I was surprised when they began to reach out, their voices dripping with feigned concern. My mother, once so cold, now called with a sweetness that made my skin crawl. They wanted my advice now that I had made something of myself, as if the years of rejection had melted away. It was infuriating, the way they sought to rewrite our history, but I was no longer the girl who craved their approval. I was a woman of substance, a force to be reckoned with, and I had my own life to lead. But the calls kept coming, and I found myself at a crossroads. Should I extend an olive branch? Should I allow them back into my life after everything they had said? I wrestled with my conscience, torn between the desire for familial connection and the anger that simmered just beneath the surface. Then one day, an unexpected opportunity arose. My father approached me at a charity gala, his eyes shadowed with regret. He spoke of a venture he was pursuing, a new financial opportunity that required capital and expertise. My expertise. The irony was not lost on me. I could help him, but it meant letting him back into my world, risking the wounds I had finally begun to heal. I decided to play the long game. I agreed to meet with him under the pretense of offering guidance, but my true intention was much sharper. After years of feeling small, I would finally show them the power I wielded. I listened as he laid out his plans, the dreams that mirrored my own. Only now, he was the one seeking my approval. I felt a surge of satisfaction, knowing I held the reins of this reunion. I would not only advise him, I would steer him toward a path that would benefit me as well. If they wanted my help, they would have to earn it. With each meeting, I found myself taking notes, exploring angles, and crafting strategies that would ultimately shape his venture. It was intoxicating. The thrill of turning the tables, of commanding respect where once I'd been dismissed. I wove my plans carefully, letting them believe I was helping them, while quietly ensuring that I benefited the most. The day finally came when I revealed my ultimate strategy. I laid out the numbers, the projections, the potential for success. They stared at me with shock, and for a fleeting moment, I saw fear in my father's eyes. I had turned the tables, and now they were the ones who needed me. If you love Helena's journey, like and subscribe to join her next chapter. But with power comes responsibility, and as I tasted victory, the taste was bittersweet. I had played my cards well, but the game had its price. In the end, I offered them my help, but I made it clear that I would not be forgotten, not again. I would get my due respect, my rightful place. They had lost me once. They would not have the luxury of losing me again. My father nodded, the weight of my resolve settling heavily on his shoulders. I could see the realization dawning on him. The daughter he had underestimated had become a force he could no longer dismiss. I walked away from that meeting feeling triumphant, but I understood that our relationship would never be the same. Trust had been severed, but I had reclaimed my power, and justice had been served, albeit cold. Ambition had led me down a winding path filled with obstacles, but it had also brought me to a place where I could demand what I deserved. I had built a life beyond their expectations, and I would no longer be tethered by their opinions. I was Helena Montez, and my story was just beginning. As I stepped out into the bustling streets of New York, I felt as if I were standing on the precipice of an even greater adventure. I was ready to continue forging my path, ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that I held the power now. Subscribe for more stories of my journey, my losses, and my victories, as I continue to navigate a world that had once tried to stifle me.